You have given your children all of the fruit without any of the labor. Kwesi Mfume in his book, No Free Ride, said we've given our children everything they wanted and forgot to give them what they needed. Come on, y'all ain't saying nothing to me. You have got to stop raising children who operate with white privilege with no black consciousness. So you are raising these soft, suburban, entitled kids who got flat screen televisions in their bedroom, but the Negroes can't conjugate verbs. They got $1,000 cell phones and don't know how to reduce fractions. They got expensive tennis shoes and you don't even make the little Negro go out for the team. Stop making your children soft, because it's an evil world out there and they're not prepared for it.
You lose. Every time you bite with that nigga, and I'm the one that pays for it.
Some of us came from Courtside Cavalry. Some people stand up and rise. Some people sit and cry.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the clip. Black parents raising white privilege. So, what Jamal Brown was talking about, I've talked about a time or two. So, I want to say it in this way. There are too many black parents who thought the right way to raise their kids was the white way that kids got raised. So a lot of the stuff you see now, the entitlement, the mediocrity, the lacking of work ethic, a lot of that stems from black parents letting their kids be mediocre because they're trying to raise them the white way. The lack of parental discipline, the soft life child, I'll say that, no responsibilities, teaching no skills. And the reason I'm saying it's the white way, because people, even when I was a child, that's when they were trying to turn the tide of parenting, like, oh, you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do this and that's bad and that's wrong. And there were kids who got caught up in that, but they were the minority. Most of the parents like, I'm not trying to hear that, because y'all keep telling us how we're parenting our children wrong, but we got to deal with y'all. Our kids got to deal with y'all. So basically, you want us to raise our kids to get blindsided when they see y'all and meet up with y'all. And they wasn't buying it. But like I said, some of the minority people, they bought into it and they got slapped in the face. So now, people equate everything with trauma and everything with struggle. And people go, oh, my parents whipped me and my parents put me on punishment. I can't do that to my kids. And now your kids don't respect boundaries or authority. And why I said it, raising kids the white way, because when we were younger, when I was a child, a teenager, that was a thing that white kids were notorious for not respecting people's boundary, not respecting their parents, just doing whatever, and people in the society in itself covering it up, But people go, oh, but the education was so much better. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was a lot of cheating going on. That's why, I graduated high school in the late 90s, graduated college in the early 2000s. That's why you don't really see a lot of, I don't want to even say genius level. You don't see a lot of smart people. There's not as many smart people as there once were. And people made all of these suburban assumptions like, oh, they got the best books and the best teachers and the best education. No, they had the best system for cheating. That's why you see a lot of dumb adults. That's why you see, even from the political framework to the business framework to how things are run, even in schools nowadays. Um, that's part of why America's in shambles, because people believe they drank the Kool-Aid on how great everybody was if they were in a certain environment, which became a problem. A lot of y'all, you go, well, I don't want to raise my child in poverty and struggle, and I want them to have a good base and have good opportunities, and nothing's wrong with that. But what you wind up doing was you took your black kid and gave him a better base to start with, and put him in quote unquote better opportunities, but you allowed them to be lazy because they were in lazy environments. And people don't want to hear that, but the suburbs, a lot of times, that are lazy environments. So now your kid has more access to opportunity, but less drive, less work ethic. Because why should I have to have a work ethic if people around me don't really have one? So now you got kids running around here like they're gonna be be in college off of their legacy. It's like there is no legacy, bro. For a small minority can go to, this is where my parents went, this is where I'm going, but no. Man, I can say that for a fact. In the 80s, 90s, um, even early 2000s, it was a normal thing to be the first person in your family to graduate college. It's not that normal. That's a thing of the past. Like it's rare now. You get what I'm saying? It's rare. Going to college graduations in the 90s, 2000s. It's like, oh, I'm the first. I know, I get it, but now you looking at the kids of people, it's like, oh well, I don't have to do anything. I just want to be like the white kids were. I want to go backpacking in Europe and just do nothing. And I don't have to work. I don't want to do anything. And now what do you see? You see a bunch of lazy kids that want to be violent because that's what they think being hood is. And the reason they want to be violent is because they don't have any skills. And the reason they don't have skills is because you babied them. That's what happened. And you baby them and stop telling them how unfair the world actually was. So too many black kids actually believe, you know, they're on par with white America when they're not. Part of it is, and I'm going to say some things from this point on that some people are going to get offended by. Part of the Crocs, looking like you just woke up out of bed, that's suburban culture that spilled into urban culture. It's not the other way around. You know, because that was a suburban thing. I could just, you know, the idea that I'm so well off, I don't actually have to participate in the social norms. I don't have to carry myself correctly. I could just be out of pocket. You know, they used to say dress for the occasion, but if you felt like you were above everybody's class, you didn't dress for the occasion. It was a 50-50. Like I can do whatever I want. So now you have that mentality, which is spilled into the schools. That's why a lot of, excuse me, in the schools, a lot of the bad behavior y'all talking about with these kids is at a lot of suburban schools. It's at a lot of the vast majority of suburban schools have this problem. Do urban schools have a problem? Yeah, but in certain neighborhoods, the level of poverty doesn't allow for you to either you want out of the hood or you don't. So you're gonna have to do some extra work if you want out. The other thing, a lot of um, y'all got real Afrocentric when you got to the suburbs. Let me grow my hair out and let me have my locks and let me never let me never cut my hair and let me just let me be free and just naturally have it grow it and never comb it, never wash it, and never just and let me just walk around here and just be out of pocket. And your parents not telling you, hey man, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You embarrassing us now. See, it used to being super hood was embarrassing because hood people don't know how to act. Now being super suburban is embarrassing, and some of y'all don't put two and two together. You know, when like guys with the do rags and everywhere in public, that's hood. But walking around with guys with bonnets, that's suburban. You get what I'm saying? That's the difference. With the ladies, it's like interchangeable now because they're doing the same thing. So, and then you gave these kids so much that they don't work for anything. So they don't intend to work for anything. And that's part of the reason why some of y'all have these grown kids living with you, at 25, 30 years old because you became a soft parent. And then they believe, hey, you'll take care of it. You're gonna handle it. And I saw this, even when I was in college, I saw this when I say the white privilege thing. I can't I can't count how many young men and women, even when I was in college, were wasting their family's money and time because they knew they had enough money. And that the idea that some families were like, oh well, some people take time to get it together, so we just gonna keep investing in this person. We're gonna stick with them and stick with them, and they were using you. And now some of those people became parents, and they're over investing in their kids, and it's really not an investment because you're not seeing a return. You bought all of these iPads, and the kid's still stupid. You bought all of these smartphones, and the kid's still stupid. You bought all of these clothes, and the kid dressed like they get rolled up out of bed. You had all these conversations, and the kid's still socially awkward. And you're the problem because you're like, oh, you don't have to do anything. You just if you're mediocre, so what? So now the society is teetering into mediocrity for the in the future. It's already mediocre now. It's only going to get worse. See, people think, oh man, when the millennials going to take over and the Z is going to take over, it's going to be better. No, it's not. Because a lot of them are accustomed to somebody else doing the heavy lifting. So you got generations of people who were raised to be privileged. So getting their hands dirty is not part of their life expectancy. Not life expectancy, but their life in general, expectations, their life expectations. So, and a lot of y'all ain't trying to fix it. Y'all ain't trying to fix it. It's like, okay, cool. And that's why you see these interactions, even with the police interactions with the cameras. It's like, bro, y'all act like these people ain't gonna shoot you. So it's like I'm gonna keep going back and forth. I'm just gonna go. Same thing happens when you see people in public. You saw the little kids that stole from the Walgreens. Y'all ain't gonna tell me nothing. Like you got kids stealing in public, not expecting to get smacked in the face. That's entitlement, and that's when you raise these kids to have quote unquote white privilege. Like nothing can happen to me, and we're at a point where we're living in a society where the truth is society has become whiter in that way where consequences are not allowed. So you have this mentality going all across all across all these groups. But our group, we have a problem with it too. I'm gonna leave it at that. You tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.